Here on the Sportscast, we are buzzing to have Hybrid Training Centre as our new main sponsor. Hybrid trains, assess and develops programs for the gas, electrical, plumbing and renewable energy industry. Whether you are looking to build a career in engineering or an employer who wants to upskill his workforce, check out the link in our bio and see what courses Hybrid have on offer. Hello everyone, welcome to the Sportscast. It's me, Andy Grant. I've got Gary Judge with me from Across the Park podcast, and we're coming to you from the workshop. We've not been in a couple of weeks as we've been away, but we are back here now. It's on the corner of Liverpool Road, St John's Road. They've been super supportive, letting us come here and record our podcasts, and we've took full advantage of it, as well as coming here in our own time and enjoying the good food. They've actually got a offer on at the moment, which when he told me I couldn't believe it. If you pre-book your evening meal on a Wednesday till Saturday, you automatically got 20% off just by booking it online. So yeah, it's great to have a walk in, but if you actually think ahead, pre-book it.
Even like 20 minutes before you leave the house.
20% off.
Yeah.
So get it pre-booked. Wednesday till Saturday, that's a pretty good effort.
The balcony.
Yeah. We were debating whether to record outside, because if anyone's drove past here or been here before, you'll know that as the weather's getting better, they've got a cracking balcony out there. I've actually ate out there a few times. The sun's shining, a bit of people watching, sitting up. It's lovely.
Sun's on that side till late as well, isn't it?
Till like 8 o'clock. So it's a belt. It's definitely worth coming down just to have your scran and a bevy on the outside. And they've got a new menu up as well for this time of year. So loads of reasons to come down and give it and to check it out. Main one for me still being the roast dinner. Absolutely love the roast dinner. I was here the other week with Jamie Neal actually. You were in here a few weeks before, weren't you? When you all planned, 17 of you when you were in here. So yeah, get down, and again, Workshop have been great with us, so give them a follow and you'll see for yourself on the Instagram.
What's your favourite on that menu here? I'm just having a quick look. Sorry, it's a bit boring for you, but it probably not. If you like me, I love talking about food and I love eating it even more. What are you picking off that?
I mean, caramelised cauliflower.
Yeah?
I love cauliflower, cauliflower and broccoli are my go-tos.
On its own, it's grim, but yeah.
Well, it's a sides, it's like picky bits, isn't it? So.
Oh my God, the chargrill chicken wings, I know it's basic, but you can't beat some chicken wings. The open beef sandwich sounds unreal as well, yeah.
When you do a roast as well, you can do a mixed roast as well. That's what me and Jay done. We've done a big platter and it just got put in the middle.
Yeah, the mixed meats and stuff, yeah.
Away from food, we've also got Hybrid Tech College. They are the ones to go to for your renewable energy, your plumbing, your electrics, all the course that you need if you want to get into the trade or if you just need to upskill. Obviously, I know fuck all, I'm the least man's man you'll ever meet, but from speaking to the lads who are on the trade, there are certain courses that you do need to do that are, standard government. They've got them all there, plus all your added ones to get you those different quals. Again, they've been great supporting us, so make sure if that is your
chance to diversify as well. If you're a spark or whatever and you want to get it more into renewable energy and specialise in it, it's good chance, isn't it, to get ahead.
Yeah, so give them a follow as well.
Like I know what I'm talking about as well.
You know more than me. Have you been anyway?
Yeah, good.
Actually not being here, we just saying, weren't we? Not being here in a couple of weeks, nice to be back.
The difference just the nice weather makes. Like, saying that to me wife the other day, we were walking the kids to school and like, this is just boss this.
I've just been down the beach then.
Yeah, I've seen that in your story, yeah. Lucky aren't we having that? You forget, like, wherever you are in Liverpool, you know more than like half an hour away from the beach.
Yeah, I was saying Alba's mum, she's from Birmingham, and I was like, I couldn't imagine being like centre of the country and being like an hour, 2 hours away from the coast.
I know, you forget, like we're probably 10-minute walk from the beach, and both our daughters are in a class, aren't they, around the corner from there now. You could just go down, you'd be on the beach in 10 minutes from there.
Well, mate, even where my little girl goes to school, she come out at 3:30, I was on the beach by 10 to 4. So, yeah. Boss weather, and again, more reason to get out to this balcony. Right, onto this week's sport. We were just saying actually before, me, Musk and Gary, there wasn't loads of sport that was jumping out at us this week, the main one being the Champions League. So we'll just start with the footy then. It's quiet on Merseyside, which, well, it is for Liverpool anyway.
Go for us. It's
no news is good news for Everton, isn't it?
Well, somewhat.
Well, come on, we'll start with Liverpool first. I don't know what your view on this is, Musk, but there seems to be no confirmation that Arne Slot is going to be the manager. I mean, it seems pretty certain.
I think it's out of a bit of respect for Feyenoord that he wants to finish the season.
Nah.
No?
Have you seen some of his press conferences?
Yeah.
Lad, he's kind of loving the fact that he's going to be
He's linked, that he's there.
I see him one and they were like, can you say anything about being the next Liverpool manager? And he was like, yeah, so my team are talking to their team and they're agreeing a package and He spoke for 10 minutes, and then at the end he went, but we can't really say too much else.
That's the bit again. I said this, I don't want to overdo it because it'll probably come back on my face. That's the bit I just don't like about the Dutch. That whole, like, you know what I mean? I just a bit of a lack of class, that. I mean, I hadn't seen that, but it turns me off, that stuff. Like, could you imagine Klopp while he was Dortmund manager talking that openly about stuff, or being like that candid? I think he'd just be like, listen, not talking about it. He
spoke a lot about it, like a lot. But then at the end of it, he caveats by saying, but, you know, I'm not going to say anything else.
You know what that reminds me of a little bit? Like David Moyes when he got the United job, and he was that buzzing, that shedded about it, and he just like couldn't get over the fact he was Man United manager.
Well, I hope I get forgiven for saying this, but you know, he was giving me vibes with when he was talking about it and then saying, oh, I shouldn't really say anything, was Brendan Rodgers. Because he come from Swansea. He come from Swansea. No, where he come from Swansea though, where he... Yeah, I have actually heard it. He come from Swansea where he could say whatever he wanted in a Swansea press conference, and the furthest it was going was the Swansea Echo. And then he come to Liverpool and realised that whatever he said reverberates from Bootle to Thailand, and he kind of revelled in it. And I'm thinking, if this guy Arne Slot he's not even got the job yet, and he's spending 10 minutes post match talking about what he might do, and I'm like, maybe I'm being a bit harsh on him, but I just feel it's mad how it's not been announced yet. And yet I've seen 2 or 3 interviews where he's waxing lyrical about Liverpool.
Or is it like out of respect for Klopp saying, well, no, we want Klopp to get his send off, and then we announce
it? He's talking a lot about it.
And he might be, but what I'm saying is, in terms of official confirmation from the club, the club don't want to do it to go, well, we don't want to undermine the manager, and he deserves his proper send off and all that.
Both Klopp and Slot, they've only spoken about it when they've been asked about it by journalists. There's not an official, it's just that they're sitting at a press conference and they've got to answer the question that a journalist has asked. So Klopp said he basically knows who it's going to be and all that. Slot said, yeah, it's probably going to be me. But not an official from either club has come out, because they will have agreed not to until like the season's officially over.
I wonder if they're still taking bets on it.
No,
it's been suspended.
Yeah.
Has it?
Yeah.
You know what? You know what? Again, this was perfect for kind of shutting down all those Twitter accounts that are in the know. Do you know what I mean? Those
like
ITK Liverpool one.
Like yours?
Like my one, yeah. No, but you know, there are dedicated Twitter accounts, aren't there? You reckon they've got the inside scoop. No one mentioned Arne Slot.
Left field that way, it was out of nowhere.
Just shows how bullshit half them were, but... So yeah, I just thought that was a bit interesting, but maybe you're right, there's no just being a bit respectful. The only other thing that happened, which was I just thought like classic, proper babyish, was Nunez comes on against Spurs, has 10 minutes, gets put through on goal 3 times and doesn't score 3 times, and then has a hissy fit and deletes every related Liverpool photo from his Instagram, which I only saw it the next day and was just like, what a ming.
Well, I was going to ask, because I've never thought about this till now, but I've seen a few, like, not on Twitter, but I've seen a few bits on Instagram about, like, the Liverpool fans having a bit of a groan and moan about, was there that kind of vibe when he was missing the chance?
The only thing that didn't happen on Sunday was when he didn't score or didn't put a chance away or whatever, the crowd didn't sing his name, which has been happening for 2 years near enough now. He makes a mistake or he does something where you go, he's made a good effort there, or whatever, and then you've got that Nunez chant. That's the only thing that didn't happen during the game.
It wasn't like but
how ironic is that though? He's having a moan that normally he makes a great run, can't finish his dinner, blazes over the bar, everyone's fuming, but instead of fuming we all go, Nunez. He's
had more support than most other players in terms of like vocal support. There's then rumours going around, like, again on social media, that's because he was getting like death threats and his family were getting brought into comments on social media and all that. But that probably happens with them all.
There's divvies in every club's got a facet, like whether it's small or whatever, fans who would just cross the line, but they're not fans, are they?
I think it's easy for Nunez to say, oh yeah, I only done that because some fan. He will have had fans messaging him anyway that he was shit, so he can't just say, oh yeah, I'm doing it now because it was my family. I just think, like you said there, the crowd haven't sang his name like they have done in the past, and I don't think no one moans and groans. It was just for me when he missed his chance, I was just like,
I mean, he was offside within the first minute of being on as well, which again, that's one of the gripes that people have got with him now, is that he hasn't been intelligent enough to be onside most of the time. But I don't know, is that a bit of a cry for help to put himself in the shop window? Or
I also think as well, though, that the way you've just said there about there's been times where Mo Salah doesn't get his song sung half as much as it deserves, by the way, out from what he's done for the last 6 or 7 years. And Nunez having a little cry because we didn't sing his name.
I mean, yeah, we're speculating. We are speculating here, aren't we? He may have deleted it because after the game he's got a call from his agent to say, look, we've been told they're selling you. You don't know, do you?
Yeah, but he's still got Benfica stuff on his Instagram.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but it was an exit that was beneficial to him that he wanted, wasn't it?
I just think he's maybe a bit hot-headed, whatever, and he's just, got himself in a bit of a huff.
Is it still like that now, or has he put it back up again?
It's still like that now, I think.
Yeah, it's still like that.
And I think he probably regrets it, but he can't not, because he looks a bit of a knob now, doesn't he, if he goes back?
Like you when you're bevied.
Yeah, probably, yeah. It's like anyone,
a lot of people,
like anyone when they're bevies, yeah.
Especially you, though.
I saw someone
being audible for?
saw someone on Twitter say something along the lines of, I bet he only tried to change his alarm.
Ends up messing it up. Yeah.
So, yeah, that was the only probably interesting thing. As for the game, I think ever since that Palace game and then the derby, then West Ham, I just wasn't as caught up in the emotion of beating Spurs 4-2. Yeah, it was a decent game to watch, but it wasn't like a come on, like as if it would have been.
I think that's a good point as well, isn't it? Like the best one in the world, I think the fans were generally drained, weren't they? It wasn't just Nunez in particular.
Yeah.
It was just generally,
and it was a nothing game.
Yeah.
I think the fact that the pressure was off kind of helped the players a bit.
Apart from Nunez.
Well, yeah. But like in terms of like they didn't feel like they had to force things or whatever. They actually looked like they were enjoying the footy. But it's like, obviously, it's too little, too late now. They might as well have not have.
Yeah, it's like was it the other week? He was talking about the game where a team were getting battered, and it was like it's easy to play like that when you're 4-0 down. Can't remember what it was, but it's the same principle, isn't it? Like you weren't getting beat in that particular game, but you'd already lost, and it's like it's easy to play with the shackles off when you're getting beat.
I think that the same thing kind of got said last weekend for Burnley, and Burnley were like knocking it round the back and stuff, and it's like but they're getting battered, so they're showing why they're where they are, because they're still trying to play like that when they're getting battered.
Definitely.
Something a bit more stressful than across the park was Everton. I mean, I think I put in our group, I was just like that every day there just seems to be something else. I mean, you've finally got yourselves to where you needed to be on the pitch, but off the pitch it just seems as relentless as ever, as kind of bad news or rumours, or you just don't know what's going on, do you? And in a way, this feels a lot more serious than what was going on the pitch.
I don't agree. I think we're actually in a better position now than we were, and I spoke about this on our podcast today. I actually think Mashiri may have played this perfectly. Just bear with me. So
I can't wait for this.
No. So 3 or 4 months ago, he didn't have the cash because of the whole Usmanov thing being cut off to put into the club to bankroll him for the last 3 or 4 months. At that moment in time, you weren't going to find a preferential buyer because relegation was looming over us. Further points deductions were looming over us. There was still a lot of stadium developments, significant development that needs to go on. You were never going to find an attractive buyer. It's a bit like trying to sell your house in the depths of winter when there's weeds growing out everywhere. Your neighbours are terrible, and it's like you're not going to get that. You wait till it's sunny and you take all the best pictures. Just bear with me on this. So 777 have come to the fore. They've said, look, we're interested in buying. They've agreed a price in principle with Mashiri, but they've said to him, we haven't got the readies now, but we will have. In the meantime, though, we'll bankroll the club for you. Where they're getting the money from is another subject, and I'll come on to that in a bit, but we'll keep putting the money in the meantime, so you haven't got to put your hands in your pocket. Your investments, in the shape of your shares is safe, and we'll convert that to equity when we get the money. We now know they're not going to get the money. That's the reality. But that deal in principle is really between 777 and Mashiri. The club have been lent money, but it's money that's leveraged against Mashiri's shares. Now that we've avoided relegation, most of the stadium, 90% of the stadium is now finished. We've got a chance now to run the clock down like Hughes did with Hicks and Gillette, right down to the wire, of close to being administration, where you get people in, they start to strip the debt away and go, look, will you agree 60% of that back? Will you agree less interest? Blah, blah, blah. They get it to a point where they go, okay, we now owe 300 million rather than 500 million because we've got the best deals with our creditors. Now it's either going to administration or someone comes along and buys it. Bang. That's when you have maybe 2 or 3 decent investors, which I'm led to believe MSP are one of them. They're one of the ones who've got a loan outstanding. They're owed 175 million. They're a massive, massive outfit with serious assets. The reason they didn't want it at the time is there was too much debt knocking about. There was too much insecurity around the future of the club in the Premier League. And more than anything else, they didn't want all of that, you know, all of the naughty debt with massive interest involved. If it gets right to the wire, Mashiri's price that he's going to accept will be as low as it can be. Because he won't want... The minute it goes into administration, Mashiri will be forced to take 10p on the pound. As if he's going to allow that to happen. He'll lower his price right until it gets to the very... And that's what FSG did with Hicks and Gillette. So you've got to be at this moment in time a glass half full, glass half empty. But if you look at and you run it back, you think, do you know what? He may well have played this perfectly.
But I don't get... No, I do understand that, and you've explained it quite well, but Mashiri's had to, you know, give away 200 million to this 777.
He hasn't, though. He hasn't. So 777 is still... The only way that materialises and he has to give his equity away is if they're able to become owners of the club, and they're not going to pass those 4 tests that the Premier League have put in place. The Premier League have said you need to have 200 million in escrow to secure the end of the stadium and basically the running costs for the next 12 months. No way they're doing that. You need to pay MSP their loan back of 175 million. No way they're going to do that. And there was 2 others which were like all around their capability.
But they're going to want to get their 200 million back, aren't they?
Yeah, from Mashiri though. No one else. So if they don't become owners, Everton don't owe them nothing. The only person who owes them money is Mashiri.
But when you say he's played the blinder, it's cost him 200 mil.
But he would have lost Everton though, because we would have went into administration 3 months ago, maybe 2 months ago. So the point I was messaging you in the WhatsApp group, and I thought I'll just speak about it when on the podcast. You were saying about what happens if 777 disappear. 2 weeks ago, or maybe a week or so ago, when they said, look, if 777 don't put this money in, then Everton are going to miss payroll. Everton come out and said, no, we've got cash to make payroll and make stadium, but we won't be able to sustain that for longer than a month. It's the same principle as you say...
For longer than a month?
Longer than a month, as in like more than 2 consecutive months, 1 month after that. They didn't want to get themselves...
what's going to happen in 8 weeks then?
But we'll run it right to the wire, and I think Mashiri, the club will be happy to run it right to the wire, because I strongly believe, and I don't have any other reason to believe that other than the fact that a few reliable sources have said it, and the fact that we've got a stadium that's 95% built. I don't see how anyone would not want to pick a Premier League club up for 300 million with a brand new stadium. It's just madness to not do it.
It's just how much that's going to be involved, isn't it?
Probably another... Well, that's the point. You get when you get to the point of about to go to... If you're going into administration or liquidation as a company, everything happens before, as in you make every effort to try and consolidate your debts, reduce your debts, get preferential terms before it gets to that point. There'll be... I guarantee you, and look, I'm not a finance expert. I'm not sitting there knowing who the investors are, but I'm given the amount of Premier League clubs that have been turned over the last few years. Guarantee you, there's 2 or 3 investors sitting in the wings going, let's just wait for the best price here. It's like bidding on a house almost and going,
no, listen, I get
price is coming down, bang, we'll hit it now.
But if that's the case, then why doesn't... I know, and I'm not trying to suggest Everton are a similar size club to the likes of Bury, but like Bury were in...
No assets. I don't know, nothing. There's nothing there for anyone to... And again, Bury in League 2, 2,500 fans.
But if you're a Bury businessman and you're thinking I'd love to own it, there probably was a chance at some point to get it on the cheap.
You'll kill yourself though. You'll kill yourself to get it back to where it was, because you didn't own the stadium. You'd have to rent it. You'd have to pay all the running costs. There's a load of... And honestly that's the biggest factor in this whole equation. If you took on Goodison Park, and we're like, how can I monetize Goodison Park? You pull your hair out, and we've never ever been able to...
You think the stadium saved us?
The stadium without doubt, and that's why I say about 3 or 4 months further on, the stadium's also 3 or 4 months closer to being complete. Completion date is still November, December. That tells you, we're kind of little outside, but you can see from the outside of it, there's like... Yeah. Even the outside of the stadium, the cladding is the only thing to go on now. Most of the seats are in. the lounges are almost taking shape. It's like, if you're thinking, what, we have to put an extra 50 million in to finish that stadium, and then we start selling the rights to the stadium, we start selling all the commercial and retail units around it. Any decent business outfit or investors looking at that going, happy days, but let's wait, because there's still loads of messiness going on here. We still need to get Mashiri to agree to sell for less. You turn around to Mashiri in 6 weeks' time when the club's on the verge of administration and go, okay, Farhad, do you want to wait until 24 hours and get your 10 pence on the pound, or do you want to take 400 million, we'll pay 777 off, we'll pay you another 200 million, and we'll take the remaining 200 million debt on, and we'll take it forward. I think it's an absolute bargain.
The only thing would be, though, on the actual playing side of things, I'm led, well, from what we all kind of seen from the numbers, Everton are one of the worst ran clubs in the sense that the money they bring in compared to the wages, you're going to have to strip a lot of those players away, and it's from a new investor, right? Yeah, you've got that lovely big stadium, but
so we've got,
as a playing side, it's not great, is it?
We've got 5 players out of contract, of which, if all of their contracts, I mean, the fringe players, the majority including like the likes of Ghana guy, Andre Gomez. Gomez might have a little bit.
But Gomez is one of the highest paid, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's out of contract.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. There's a lot of players that come off that wage bill this summer. A lot of them. Even like Dele Alli's probably going to go off, and sad as it is, we're still paying him the best part of 150 grand. So
that what he's on a week?
Yeah, he's still top 5, isn't he?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's 4 of the top 10 earners, maybe more if you include the likes. We're probably going to sell Jordan Pickford, we're probably going to sell Jared Brantwaite on buttons, but I think the money we bring in this summer and the wages we're going to lose, we're going to be we're going to be in a much stronger position financially. Now the playing squad may not be, and that's a different question, but it then leads you on to go, well, do you just keep Dyche in charge because you know he'll keep you up, and you know we'll be able to do that job probably. But again, look, you're either a glass half full and half empty, and I get your perspective.
You're very much half full, aren't you?
No, I am. And look, I don't think there's any, generally in life, there's no point in being half empty, but I just look at it and think, I just feel like there's a far too much available there for a decent investor, and too many decent assets to turn it down, and probably a too good a deal to be had.
Trying to think of a way to burst this bubble, lad, but I can't.
Well, give it a few weeks and you might be able to burst your bubble. You know, we might be sitting here and we've gone into administration and we're starting the season -9, 777 of somehow managed to push through a sale. I mean, if you believe what you read, and it's not even what you read, it's facts. 777 have turned around and said to Standard Liège, you're not going to get paid this week or this month, the players. I mean, that's part of their portfolio. How on earth any league in the world or any owner can be allowed to sell to them is ludicrous. So
no, totally. I think the only thing, and these sound like people, and I know money talks, but like egos and stuff, and it's like when you turn around to these people and saying, look, will you take this much, or do you just say no? And then like the debts that Everton owe money to people who do
well, again, it's the same principle. We go into administration, they get 10p on the pound, so who wants to do that? Anyone who's owed money when a company goes into administration or is liquidated is not going to get.
But it's almost just calling people's bluff in it, though. It's like,
well, it is, and some of them will be that big. They'll go, no, if you want to play in that game, and you're not going to get everyone to play ball. You won't, and that's part of that whole process, really. But most people will come. Some of them might come up with a deal and go, we'll freeze the interest for this period of time to give you a chance to get back on your feet. But we want it paid, in 6 months' time. We want it to kick back in. Same with credit card companies and that. No one wants someone to get an IVA or bankruptcy because they know they're not getting the money back. So, but you've got to be in that position of pure vulnerability. They've got to go, well, let me see your books.
You think then there's going to be a scary few weeks ahead before it hopefully gets better?
I do. And I think to a lot of people who, and I'm not saying, again, I'm not an expert, but I think to a lot of people looking at it, and there'd be Sky Sports, as always, should call it LFC TV. There'll be scaremongering for the next few weeks, telling Everton, on the verge of this, on the verge of that, you should be scared, blah, blah, blah.
Do you know if I've learned anything? It's when you walk through a storm, which you're going through, hold your head up high. Okay, hold your head up high.
Like Darwin.
Listen,
you never walk alone, Darwin, but we'll throw you under the bus.
I think you need to start then adopting more people like you need to adopt. You'll never walk alone. It's the optimism. It's like the You'll Never Walk Alone song. So yeah, fair play to you. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
See what happens. Other bits of footy last week. Last week we had the Champions League. what is it with Real Madrid in that European Cup? There's just
Carlo Ancelotti in that European Cup. It's just phenomenal, isn't it?
Just how calm he was as well, by the way. Just wasn't even phased one bit, was he?
Blow that cup of coffee.
That when I remember when Everton scored and he just didn't give a shit.
It was Tottenham when it was like 5-4 in the cup or whatever.
Everyone was going
mentally. He was just like Luna's blowing into his coffee. He's just such a cool guy.
He is such a cool guy, and
you know what though? I know I cut you up quite a lot, so I'll let you talk in a minute. But I think that's a reflection of the players, isn't it? Like the players just believe, no, we'll find a way. We don't have to panic.
Yeah, I think though teams, and maybe you might disagree with me now because it's kind of a little maybe knock at Everton or maybe just a big enough Liverpool, but I think there are certain teams that have certain things that always go for them, and I think Real Madrid in that European Cup are one of them. I always think Liverpool always, as a team, always have great strikers. Like there are certain teams that always do certain things or do well at certain places or in certain competitions, and I just think that's the kind of way it is. And Real Madrid in that European Cup, I think they've been in the last 10 out of 20 finals or something like that.
Yeah, it's
something as crazy as that, and they've done it again rather fortuitously when you look at the last minute of the game. I think he was offside anyway. It would have been close regardless, wouldn't it?
Yeah, another one disallowed, which was close as well. I mean, it was one of them.
Either way, it was a bad refereeing and bad linesman decision for raising this flag and blowing the whistle far too early. The whole rule now is, you give it a... And to be fair, fans bemoan, don't they, when they give it too long.
Can't win, can they?
But they definitely give it too short there regardless. I think it still would have been offside, but that's nothing to do with the point. The point was the refs fucked up a little bit. Well, a lot.
Well, it's the linesman that's fucked up really, isn't it? Yeah. Because he should really, the way that the new rule is, he should put his flag up after that passage of play. And then the ref will blow, like, to see if the goal was allowed or not allowed. But because the linesman puts his flag up, that's near enough telling the ref, I definitely know he's off.
But you play to the ref's whistle though. The players shouldn't stop running round just because of the flag goes up.
No, but the ref blew his whistle.
That's what I'm saying. So the linesman fucked up, but so did the ref by blowing the whistle.
Yeah, but the ref only blows his whistle because he thinks the linesman is 100% sure that
the ref can overrule something though, or go, look, carry on, we're playing on. He could have done that.
I think Muskie's right there. Like, I think, and you were right in the sense that we get frustrated because the linesmen don't put the flag up. They only should put the flag up if it's like bang on. It's like, and actually some of them don't. But I think the referees respond as the linesman going, he wouldn't be putting his flag up.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But I'm saying you play to the ref's whistle. The ref doesn't have to stop the game just because the linesman put his flag up. He could have continued it a couple more minutes or a few seconds, whatever. Either way, I personally don't think it was offside, but it gave everyone a good chance to moan.
Well, apparently the linesman's apologised. I don't know how true these words are from, like, I think Dyche said it and Tuchel said it, that the linesman apparently has said, like, I think I might have made a mistake straight afterwards. So I don't know whether his head's gone a little bit and said something he shouldn't have said.
That's a lot better than going, having fucking Mike Owen and that fucking whatever the baldy fucking ref is, having a good show on it half an hour later and saying, shit, this linesman's come out after it, went, you know what, sorry about that. And you go, you know what, human error. And you know, if any of the players can have a moan, you go, lad, you missed a penalty there.
Yeah. No, I agree with that, and that's been my whole attitude towards the biggest flaws in VAR and all that, is that it's like we're taking the decisiveness out the game and the ability for humans to make mistakes the same way the players and managers do, and they shouldn't never underestimate that. But going back to the actual match itself and the result, I made up the one because I hate Germans anyway. Sorry if you're German and you're watching this. And two...
What a generalisation.
What a show that is.
And two...
That's all because of Klopp, that, honestly.
Dortmund's, yeah, exactly. It absolutely is. Dortmund's ruined that semi to some extent with PSG. Battered them, by the way. Absolutely battered them.
Why did they ruin that semi?
You say ruined? They just tried to spoil it. It's probably a bit harsh, that. I think they obviously has a game plan. That was the only way they could win the tie.
That's it, though, isn't it?
But when a team has an XG of nearly 5 and doesn't win, it's like... the Champions League, you want the best teams to... But
if you're getting...
It's a win at all costs, though, isn't it? Like,
exactly.
When Liverpool won in 2005, definitely weren't the best team. But
no,
game by game, they frustrated teams, they took the sting out of a game, they got people on the counter-attack, all that kind of stuff. It wasn't very pretty to watch, really, if you're looking back at it. But if it wins you the trophy, who gives a fuck?
What I did think, though, is just the point I was going to make is I was hoping, after watching that game, do you know what? This will probably go a similar way in terms of Bayern trying to soak it up, looking for a set piece, maybe getting a goal out, which you know they did to some extent. Although it was an absolute worldie of a strike, but it was against the run of play, wasn't it? I thought, but if Madrid get the chances the PSG got, they'll take them. They didn't have as many chances, but they did take the chances that they got. And I think that would have been a bore fest, that final. Two German teams plays each other quite a lot anyway.
Dortmund got the better last time.
1-0. It was
I think it might have been 2.
1-0. It was a 2 in the end.
It
was 1-0 for long periods. But again, it was a similar kind of. There wasn't. Whereas I think this final, because Madrid and Ancelotti, they just don't play that way. In big games, they go and try and win the game. They don't sit back and wait for it. They'll go and try and win the game. Particularly in the second leg of games and obviously in finals, they'll go for the throat. And it'll just be interesting to see. I think Dortmund will have to have the same game plan. I just don't think they'll get near them. I think Madrid will spank them.
I do, and I'm personally buzzing for Bellingham. I swear I've got this like love affinity now just for Bellingham. I can't see him doing anything wrong. He hasn't had the greatest couple of games in the Champions League against Man City or against Dortmund, but I just think what a player. I'm a huge fan of him, and I think for him now, playing against Real Madrid, against his old side Dortmund at Wembley, like what a dream come true for him. It's just like, and then you put in the group chat before, so if Dortmund win, they get 20 million from UEFA. I
mean, Muskie made the point of saying we have to say we've seen this online, and it's a mad kind of little storyline, isn't it? But go on.
Yeah, so if Dortmund win, UEFA will obviously give them the prize money, 20 million. But if Real Madrid win, they have to then pay Dortmund 25 million just because Bellingham's helped them win it. Add-ons, which is mad.
That's a big add-on though. That's what I think is a bit.
It's a huge fee though.
Suspect of it.
It's a huge fee.
Well, do you know what though? It might be all the add-ons together. It might be if he gets top goal scorer in the team, which he has. If he wins La Liga, which he has.
Well, you think about it because of the financial.
If he wins the Champions League, which he has.
Because of the financial fair play stuff, Madrid, like any team, are restricted in La Liga. That would have been a perfect structure for deal. Because if you know as the winning team you're getting 20 million, let's just write that off and give them an extra 5 for good measure. If we win the Champions League, so what Madrid are going, we're getting 20 odd million in off that Champions League final. We'd be buzzing to win that. It's worth more to us than 25 million we then paid.
They're 15th as well. Just on that one, it reminded me. Did you see Steve Warnock's podcast this week with Under the Cosh? Yeah. Good watch, I thought. And he tells the story where Rafa basically fucked him over and let Hosami, was it? Hosami get on the plane and it cost him 200 grand. And everywhere's picked up on it, but nobody really picked up on the bit where he said, Stevie said, we'll make sure you get that. I'm still waiting.
But
he's still waiting, I'm
still waiting for someone to tag Stevie in it and go, fucking hell, lad, where are you?
Any chance?
Week's
wages there, Stevie, just transfer.
I know, But if anyone's not seeing it, definitely, and he's a nice lad, Steve, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, boss lad.
So I'm buzzing for Bellingham, and the bet that I've already been kind of touting these last few weeks, again, he's dropping even now. He's gone to 5-2 now to win BBC Sports Personality Year Awards, and he's gone to, I think, 9-4 from 3-1 to get the Ballon d'Or. So Jude Bellingham, he's going to win England the Euros. He's got a good shot with being La Liga top goal scorer. He scored the winning goal in.
Can you do that as a treble?
No.
Tried it, have you? Because
I've looked at every possible combination. I think England will win the Euros. I think he'll get the Ballon d'Or, and I think he'll get the BBC Sports Personality Year Awards.
Mad shout while you're wearing Italy top, by the way.
Which brings us on to they're just a nice top in it. But no, I think it's going to be an England-Germany final, and I think England will win.
Well, I was going to say that actually. I'm glad you mentioned Germany, because you can't not look at the Champions League, and particularly the makeup of the Bayern and Dortmund sides, as they always are, heavily made up of Germans, and not think that they're starting to come of age at the right time again. Like, they always do it, don't they?
Can you say that though with the all German?
They've been poor in qualify. What?
Are they all German though?
No, there's a lot, like the likes of Schlotterberg, Leimer. They've been the players who, in those two teams, very defensive, very, very solid. Goretzka's look good for Bayern as well. It's just very German. They're not there's nothing showy about them, is there? Well, they're all very.
That kind of links into what Schweinsteiger was saying on the overlap the other week. It was like, when Pep was in their league, everyone tried to play that kind of footy, and the German side of the footy suffered. And now that he's been gone for X amount of years, it's like that style of football is coming back into the German league, where that's where they're successful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
the home nation as well. you know, England done it in the Euros, got to the final, I think.
How sick would you be if, like, they beat us in the final and, like, it was like the line that can't really give Bellingham the Ballon d'Or, can't really give him the first personality, England don't win the Euros.
They will.
Granty's a grand in.
I hate Germany, and us two will be crying in our pints.
I think it's done. On that one, the previous England final, the new Netflix documentary's come out as well, called The Final Attack, which is about all the fans bunking in when they're all Charlies off their head in, you know, the Italy final.
Class.
No, they literally, it says on the documentary, like, they say a lot of cocaine, you can tell, has been consumed. So that's worth a watch on Netflix, maybe. Just last few points on footy then. Is it fair to kind of label Kane that I've seen, like, you know, he's almost made Bayern Spursy? Do you know what I mean? And it's like,
I love that.
To have the career he's had, it's almost disrespectful for fucking little old Andy Grant in Bull to sit here and go, Kane's not a winner. But there's a good chance he could finish his career
with nothing,
with never winning
anything.
Like he will have won golden boots and stuff like that.
But as a team,
he's never won anything, which is
not far off. Shearer wasn't far off.
I said that this morning to me halfully. Yeah, it's just.
Was it just the Premier League he won with Blackburn?
With Blackburn, yeah. Which is, I do feel a bit sorry for him. He's become a bit of a laughingstock, I think.
Yeah,
in some parts of the media he has.
I think on social media it's a laughingstock kind of thing, but I think anyone who knows a bit about footy knows that he's actually had a fucking really good season. It's more that his team have suffered, and it's not got nothing to do with him. It's bad luck. It's a great script if you're writing a script.
He's had a great career, hasn't he?
It's just unfortunate that when he's jumped over to the team that he thought he'd win some trophies with,
the last time they win a
season
no. Without winning was 2010.
Well, Kevin Hatchard, who's always on TalkSport, was talking about it. They asked him about it and said, look, how's Harry Kane perceived by the fans? Because, you know, it looks like he's going to be the key or the main player or the marquee player in the worst Bayern sides in years. And they absolutely love him. Like, there's not one bad word said about Harry Kane, because he's just...
And look what happened when he went off yesterday.
He's hit the ground running. Yeah, that's it. And he's hit the ground running, scored goals straight away. He scored when they've needed him to score. Like, he's done his bit. It's just the team's been a car crash, or the defence has been a car crash. And
you could almost, and I'm not saying he's as good as him, but remember when Torres come to Liverpool, and we were shite really, weren't we? But Torres was adored by Liverpool fans, and Torres, I don't think, what did he win? Might win a League Cup, maybe. Might not have won anything, actually.
It's a good shout, that.
Look at Suarez as well. Suarez won one League Cup at Liverpool, and he was adored as well. So I don't doubt that the Bayern fans adore him. I just feel a little bit sorry for him that it just so happens that.
Interesting question that actually, isn't it? Not a debate, because I'm not prepared for a debate on it. But who's the best player to play in a team that's been what you would call unsuccessful against
Suarez
versus the history of the club?
He's just scored 500 career goals, hasn't he? Luis Suarez. He is the best player, and we've had arguments and debates in our group of mates.
No, I mean, like, the best player to play for the club, but the club to be unsuccessful.
For me personally, that Liverpool for 3-4 years we had Suarez for was obviously unsuccessful. But
and you play like the 3-4-3 under.
He was, yeah. He's the best player I've ever seen with my own eyeballs. Him and Messi. But like, a funny old thing, he's got the most assists for Messi.
Like, yeah,
he was the best player I've ever seen at Anfield.
Jen paid for me to go and watch El Clasico for me 30th, and it was when Messi, it was 9 years ago.
In his pomp.
Messi and Suarez were up front, and it was just like
both of them.
Yeah, Messi
and
Messi,
Neymar,
Suarez, and Neymar. It was
wow.
Yeah, MSN. And it was just like, this is just unreal. Yeah. And Madrid was decent at the time as well. Like, it was a boss 3-2, I think it was, to Barca that night, but it was just unreal.
And I think going back to the Kane thing, though, I think it'll take him one more season, and Bayern Munich will win at least one trophy next year.
Yeah,
he's got to stay there.
Like,
he's got to stay there.
It's just a blip. Like, he will get a trophy.
And I think this is kind of related to one of the next points you've got on it. It depends who takes over. Like the Joe, if they get Ten Hag, like, he'll be like, this has got to be a prank. This.
I wonder
who's giving Ten Hag the job?
I don't think it'll be this soon anyway. But I don't know what the rivalry between like Dortmund and Bayern's like. Whether Klopp could do that though.
No,
could Klopp ever take charge of Bayern?
Klopp
do you think?
Would not go there.
I don't mean now.
It'd be like him taking over United.
Really?
Yeah, it would. It would, definitely.
I didn't know they were that big of rivals.
Yeah.
Most of Germany hate Bayern just because they just take the pick of the litter, don't they?
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's like United. Like they're like the Man Uniteds of the Bundesliga.
On the whole little managerial merry-go-rounds, I think this is a proper strong shout that Southgate goes to United. And obviously, it all depends how England get on the Euros. I think if they win the Euros, which I believe they will, Southgate's going to have the option.
Nailed on. It's nailed on for me.
What, that they win the Euros?
Because no, Southgate going to United is nailed on. Because it's Dan Ashworth and all that.
Well, yeah, but if England win the Euros, which I believe they will, Southgate will have then two options. He's thinking, well, I've just won the Euros. I'm the first manager to bring success to England since 1966. I've got Kane, which will have another 2 years in him. I've got Bellingham he's getting better and better. I've got Foden there. I've got Cole Palmer.
Or you've
got all these players.
Or you go out and literally Ralph Ramsey style and you're off.
And he goes, got all these players. I've just won the Euros. I've got all these players.
You're never beaten that.
2 years for a World Cup.
No, you're never beating it. No, he's leaving because he's leaving.
Even if he wins,
it doesn't matter. It's the money is just a different level, and the level of
But if he wins the
Euros,
so hang on. If he wins the Euros, he's beat all the best teams in Europe. He's only got to beat Brazil and Argentina.
Doesn't matter. He knows he won't. I just think he knows.
How would you say that when he's just beat everyone in Europe?
All right, maybe that's unfair. Say he knows he won't. But I just think there's so many permutations with an international team. All those players you're talking about there, one of them could do a Dele Alli. Someone else could be injured. Suddenly it's like you can't buy players.
Well, Argentina won't have Messi for starters, and if they will, he'll be by fucking 43. So Argentina won't be as good, if you like. Brazil, when you talk about Brazil, it's not like they've got the Rivaldos, the Ronaldinhos, all that.
He needs to think about how his stock's going to look though as well. Yeah. Like if he has one bad tournament.
And stock goes, if he wins the Euros, right, and they go to the World Cup, he's not going to get beaten in the group stage.
How do you know?
No, but then another 2 or 3 years. Football, like players, it's about opportunities. The Man United job, when Man United are at their worst, just doesn't. It's a tapping.
Okay then, all right. Okay.
Yeah, United.
I understand what you're saying. Hear me out then. I
understand
what you're saying. So he wins the Euros. His stock's at an all-time high. United under Ratcliffe are having a bit of a, we need a change, right? Southgate can go, I can do 2 more years here and take this team that I've just won the Euros with to a World Cup, and it's going to be our best ever chance of winning a World Cup. Or I can go into United, despite them being one of the biggest clubs in the world, go to United where the longest manager in the last 10 years has done 2 years and everyone hates them. They go in there, they last 18 months and they're gone again. Or you can take Cole Palmer, Saka, Kane, Bellingham, Rice to a World Cup final. Fuck me, there's not a chance I'm going to United.
No, I'm not saying I'm going to United, but I think the mentality of a player who's plays at the top level, the top level club-wise, but Southgate as a centre-back and as a professional player would have took that chance to go to United when he was at Villa, without doubt. He'd have always been looking. I just don't see how anyone turns down Man United. Not only the prestige, but the money, the chance to prove yourself as a club manager. He's proved himself as an international manager. I don't care what anyone else says. The record that England had before he took over in big tournaments, he's proved himself regardless of what happens this summer as a top international manager. But there's nothing else to prove. All right, winning World Cups, of course, being the first manager to win a World Cup in 1966, you can be the first manager to win a Euros ever for England. That's enough. And I think it's too big a risk to turn down the Man United job. As Muskie says, you're one bad tournament away with the best crop of players that England have ever had from being suddenly, he's a failure. And I'm not touching Southgate, and he's a joke again. He's got a pizza up bag over his head before you know. Do you remember that? You probably too young to remember that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
When he missed the pen in '96.
But I just think, right, if he can kind of almost, the one bit of bad press he gets now is he's too defensive. If he can take the handbrake off, and then he has them all, Palmer, Foden, Saka, Kane, Bellingham, flying forward. He's got them all playing this great football, and we absolutely romped that tournament. I don't know how he turns down taking them to a World Cup. I just don't know how he does it.
Yeah. It depends on what that feel good for.
I think you're saying it because your mentality.
No, you made a great point in the sense of Dan Ashworth. I can see the links, and I can see why. You look at the state England were in when he come in.
If England win the Euros, so this is like a double-edged bet, because if England don't win the Euros, the bet's off.
Yeah.
If England win the Euros, he goes to Man United.
20 quid, yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Done. I'd be interested to see your comments on this.
I understand the reasons why, when he got the England job, that he was coming into like a poor England squad, wasn't he? He's brought all the players together. He's done a great job of like the whole galvanising everyone. Yeah, the teamwork, and that's what Man United needs.
Yeah, exactly.
And I get it. I totally get it. But if I'm a manager who's just being the first England manager to win the Euros, and I've got again those 5 players, Trent, you've got all that. It's fucking not a chance.
But if we go back to Gary's point about Everton, about when's the best time to invest, and best time to jump in at United is when they're on their arse and they can only go up.
Yeah, and you think about
for 10 years.
You think about the biggest reason why United's been a poison chalice is because of Alex Ferguson. Alex Ferguson now, obviously, every year that goes by, he's further and further away from being. The club is further and further away from being the club that Alex Ferguson had. They're now literally desperate for anyone. They're so open in terms of having the most miserable, like, dour managers you can imagine. Anyone who comes in with fresh ideas, young players, breathes a bit of life into it, will be welcomed with open arms.
Then do you think then if England don't win the Euros, do you still think they'll go for Southgate?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So where does Tuchel go then?
Not to United. I just think he's too much. I mean, I don't know if we had this conversation. Was it last week?
Last week, yeah.
He's disrespected, isn't he, in terms of the record that he's had? He's only had one back job.
I'd have Tuchel at Liverpool.
Yeah, I'm looking at the people who are making them decisions.
Well, he's got more of a CV than this Arne Slot, hasn't he?
Yeah, but he'd be more difficult for the people higher up at Liverpool to work with. He's not as malleable as an Arne Slot, who hasn't really had to have those conversations with people before. He's
going to be flattered, isn't he, by being there, and he's going to be like, "Look, I'm here."
I'm not saying he's going to be a yes man, but
I think he's going to be.
He'll be more likely to listen to people's point of views rather than, I reckon Tuchel will be like, "Well, this is how I want to do it, and if you don't like it, then I'll leave," which is what he's done at other clubs in the past. Anyway.
I agree. I think that's a big factor in terms of the stay factor of, are we going to be able to keep him for as long as Klopp stays, and is he going to be here for the long haul? I just think Tuchel's got a bit of a reputation, right or wrong now, as a manager. He'll move on the minute that it's not going his way.
I wasn't even going to ask you this, but I just thought with the managerial merry-go-round, do you think you just keep Dyche after the summer?
I think we have to, given all the permutations we spoke about and the insecurity of the players going in and out, probably the lack of a budget once again. The fact he's got, in my view, a hell of a lot out of a slim and a pretty poor squad. His team have kept the squad relatively fit the whole season. I think, and again, if you listen to our Across the Park episode this week, I think the job he's done this season, with the context of the last 6 weeks,
he's done great. I think he's done great.
We would be on 45 points, a point behind Brighton, a point ahead of Wolves, 2 points ahead of Fulham.
Yeah, I think he's done great. He's done great.
So no, I don't think, regardless of what I think about him long term as a manager and whether I think he's the best fit, I think he deserves at the very least another season.
Last one on footy. It's the viewers' chance to see if we actually know much about footy, because by the time they are watching this will have already happened.
Okay.
Aston Villa playing Olympiacos tonight, 4-2 on aggregate, I think it was. Do you think they go through?
No, I don't think, as much as he got a great track record in competition, I think the form's been pretty poor recently. He scraped through the last round. They were lucky in the last round to get through on pens. Olympiacos done a number on them, and I think they can. I can't see them getting beat by 2 goals, given the way they performed last week, because they played on the break last week, and they can do the same again tonight.
I think the only thing, well, I'm going to have arguments for both, is I thought, obviously, Villa's manager is
Emery's got a great record in the competition,
but the Olympiacos manager has won a final with Seville. I mean, I know I'm surprised, Muskie, you haven't been a manager at Seville and won a Europa League final, but so they both got success in the competition. But the only other thing, though, in Villa's favour is Olympiacos got beat 4-1 at home earlier on in the tournament. So
it was a dead rubber, though, wasn't it?
Probably was, but it's you know what, I'm a bit more optimistic. I think it's like a Liverpool-Barcelona type game, isn't it? There's
not many. I know there hasn't been as many ties in recent years because they haven't had that many teams. You know, Panathinaikos and Olympiacos, you know, obviously user plays Olympiacos a few times in the Champions League, but they haven't been at that level of European football for a while.
Although they did win the Youth Champions League.
But what the point I was going to make is that historically and notoriously very difficult places to go to Greece, isn't it? You used to be like, go to Greece, and it's almost like not quite Turkey, but it was like difficult places to go, like Olympiacos in particular. But I think the game plan they can just replicate from Villa Park because they don't have to go and attack. They can sit back and soak it up. I mean, look, Villa missed a lot of chances last week. If they do shake the chances, if they score early, it could change. But I would say I would go with 2-1, if not 2-2 to Villa. 2-2 to Villa, maybe 2-2.
I think they'll definitely win the tie tonight, the game tonight. Whether they go through or not, I don't know. But I can see maybe 2-0 or 3-1.
Yeah.
Like I say, it might not be good enough to go through, but
So you think they'll at least take it to extra time?
Yeah, I think, yeah. Well, yeah, it would do, wouldn't it? 3-1 would, wouldn't it? Yeah. I think they might go through. He's
going to have to go for it, you know, because interesting, like, John Duran's been the pick in the Conference League. He's played most weeks to give Ollie Watkins a rest. Obviously, when it comes to the crunch, the last few rounds, he's been rested. I think he might have to play both of them tonight and just go for it and try and hit them. It direct, not play and expand. Go direct to the forwards, try and settle them early. If you can do that, and if they play both of them, they've got every chance.
We just spent a little bit of time talking about international football as well. Looks like Ollie Watkins needs to try and, you know, cement himself. There's obviously the talk about him, Kane and Tony. Do you know, if he starts putting in a few decent performances, now he's playing for that, isn't
he? Yeah.
I hope they go through. Right, we'll finish off on a bit of boxing. Only a few little quick fire points here. So in the F1, it was the Miami GP. I tell you what, I always talk about if I ever won the lottery, I'd just spend my life taking my friends and family, going all the big sport events around the world. And I've always thought, you know, the Monaco Grand Prix is one,
Miami Grand Prix.
The Vegas one, but Miami is obviously
that's ridiculous.
I've seen a cracking photo of I think it was like Charles Leclerc. It might have been David Beckham. I think Michael Jordan, and you just like it just looked cool as fuck. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
By the way, on Michael Jordan, you know, I've started watching recently when I was on my flight home last week.
The Last Dance.
The Last Dance.
Have you not seen it?
No, I've seen it.
Yeah, it's classic.
Well, so good, you
can
just watch it again.
And yeah, because you forget a lot of the stuff, don't you? Because you focus on a certain player or a certain narrative.
Well, I even forgot that Michael Jordan's dad was fucking murdered.
Yeah. You
know, you forget that. So I'm like,
it is a great documentary.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
One of the best I've seen, that sport-wise.
I just love the fact, and it's probably, we should maybe do like a standalone debate on like what is a winner in sport and how it's defined, because we just spoke about Harry Kane being like an unbelievable professional, having an unbelievable career, but not winning anything. If you watch The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, there's not a chance he's going through his career by never winning anything.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but basketball, because of the number of players on the court and the influence and the fact you can build your game plan. I know you can in football, but you can literally build your game plan. You can have blockers to make sure that one player gets the ball.
But I just mean though, like, and yeah, you make a great point, but I just mean that when you look at Michael Jordan and there's a bit where he's like, I don't give a fuck if you don't like me, do what I say and we'll win.
No, and
like that kind of like...
Maradona was like that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Maradona, like at Napoli and stuff, it was literally like, give me the ball, and he demanded so much from the players on the pitch, and obviously he was such a presence. And Harry Kane, as much as he leads by example in his performances, and you've seen at times he can be that type of leader, I just don't know if he's that kind of come with me type person. He's just like...
And Michael Jordan was.
Yeah.
Like... unbelievable. So I'm halfway through that again for the second time. But yeah, on the Miami GP, it was good to see just someone else that wasn't...
First Grand Prix he's won for, 18 months or something mad like that, wasn't it?
McLaren. Lando Norris was first ever.
Yeah, was it his first ever?
First ever, I'm sure it was. Was it?
I'm sure he's won a couple of years ago.
It might have been then, but either way, he hasn't won one for a while. I was just turned it on the next day and was like, Red Bull haven't won. Max Verstappen hasn't won. That's good.
Proper party from McLaren, it was class, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I think they've done well then. If you're into your F1, you'll be able to correct me on that. But yeah, it was just good to see someone else get a result. And in the darts, it's in Leeds tonight. So again, when you're listening, it will have been on last night. And I've got a bit of throw something out here and you can tell me if I'm chatting shit or not. But you know what my mini pet hate is? Or mini pet hate when it comes to sport? I've got a few pet hates in life. I hate it when people say they're like they're in London, they're in Liverpool, and they say
hometown.
I'm going up to London, or they say I'm going down to Scotland. I've got like a weird pet hate.
Oh no, I'm with you on that.
It pisses me off so much. I don't know why.
What do you mean?
Well, you don't go up to London, do you? You go down to London.
Oh yeah, I thought you were saying
geography-wise.
people saying going down or up. I was like, oh yeah, no, I don't think I've ever said that. I've always say down when I'm going south or up when I'm
Exactly.
going up, yeah.
So it pisses me off when people
I even
go,
say across and going across the
oh yeah,
leagues.
that's even better. So anyway, I've got weird little pet hates, but one of my pet hates, right, is in sport, right, when someone says, and he said that about Luke Littler this week, Luke Littler could make history and I think become the first player to win, I think, is it 5 or 6
Premier League
matches or something.
Yeah, nights.
Whoever wins it makes history. In sport, you know, when they say, oh, so-and-so could win history, could make history.
You're always in history by winning something and yeah.
Pisses me off in sport. Oh, so-and-so.
Yeah, Everton could make history by beating against Sheffield United.
Yeah, whether you... last night, no doubt you will have said it last night, Real Madrid could make history and win the 15th
Andy Grant made history by going to the shop last night and buying a packet of crisps.
But no, they said last night...
The only time it's happened.
Exactly.
Last night.
They said Real Madrid could make history by winning the 15th Champions League. Okay, great.
Could make significant history, I guess, like something that's... Yeah.
Dortmund could win the Champions League and make history by winning the second Champions League. However many
it's
win,
always a first of something, isn't it?
It's not even, it doesn't have to be a first though. It's like it's just history, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gonna go down in history because
like whether you play the Champions League that day or not, whatever happens,
you're
that
never
day,
gonna drink that pint again, are you?
It's
just gone.
I have just made history. Yeah. So when they say in a sport event they're gonna make history, it's like you're not.
So you want them to say like he's gonna be the first person to do that, but not use the phrase to make history.
Just this phrase, making history. You're not. Whatever you do, you're making history, aren't you?
Mm. Yeah, it's
do you know what I mean? Point, it's like whatever you do, it's a passage of time.
Really, it's like a phrase that Michael Owens coined and just spread it to everyone, just stating the obvious.
Exactly. You're stating the obvious. It's just like we've just made history now doing this podcast, haven't we? Really, because at this time, at 6:20 on the 9th of May, we're never going to do this again. No one's ever going to do. So we've just made history.
Yeah, that's gonna absolutely blow everyone's minds.
Michael Owen comes up with some absolute stinkers, doesn't he?
God, yeah.
I'm surprised he probably did start this whole thing, making history. Whoever wins it's gonna make history, mate.
Made history by throwing that apple in the bin.
Ah, it was bad. That was his worst one.
That was the worst thing I've ever.
But I watched a few more Simon Jordan podcasts afterwards, and they were ripping it. He was ripping him, going like, "Oh fucking!" I didn't realise.
I've seen a couple of clips of the John Terry one, and he comes across like a prick as well.
I
watched the John Terry one.
Is he a prick all the way through, or just on the ones that I've seen?
I enjoyed it as a podcast, like to listen to, but I don't think he covers himself in glory in the whole racism thing, because obviously all that gets brought up again and stuff. And the only thing I'll maybe knock Simon Jordan on is he doesn't mention the shagging Wayne Bridges' wife.
Yeah, do you know what?
That'll be a PR. We're not talking about that before you go on.
What I've found in other podcasts, what he's done, he's mentioned it and said we're not going to go there because we've agreed before it. Because it's like his thing in the intro is like, I'm going to ask the questions.
Yeah, that's meant to be his
vacuous.
He's
a lot of vacuous opinions.
A lot of vacuous opinions. We want to cut right through them. But he should just either mention it or it should be a little intro. I know a lot of people might have been looking forward to this, but you know,
John Terry specifically asked me not to ask about when I shagged Wayne Bridges' wife. imagine if he said that. That'd be brilliant.
I know you didn't want me to say this, John, but
John. So we're gonna skip over the fact when you shagged Wayne Bridges' wife and just speak about when Mourinho left. Yeah.
You okay with that?
But it was a decent thing, and
Simon Jordan was probably there. That's why.
I'd love to have him on the podcast. You know. If there was a guest that I've on, I'd love to have Simon Jordan on. You've read this book, haven't you? I would.
That's a book. You talk about The Last Dance. That's a book I've listened to and read probably 4 times.
Yeah. I'd listen to it again and stuff. It was really good. I'd love to have him on. But yeah, I think he just loves Mourinho. John Terry's like his little love child. Which
did you see the video? Mourinho's on a video for him, didn't he? When he got inducted into the Premier League Hall of Fame or something, and he was like literally crying.
Well, he said he was sitting there like with his wife, and then Mourinho FaceTimed him and he was like fluffing the pillows up and that, you know, he was like, fucking hell, like shitting myself type thing and all that, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it was kind of nice to see him a bit like to Mourinho, but it was interesting kind of podcast, but yeah, I don't think he just covers himself in glory when it comes to the racism stuff with Anton Ferdinand. So anyway, that's my pet hate about the history of stuff. So Luke Littler could make history, if you like anyone else fucking could who goes there tonight. And I think he could win 5, which is maybe
5 Premier League nights, separate nights.
Yeah. But Luke Humphries' nemesis, if you like, is in It's in Leeds, so it's Humphrey's hometown. So
what are the fixtures tonight? Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot here because you haven't wrote them down. But is there any interesting matchups in the quarters? Because I think the quarters generally sets it up. I think if there's a tight match in the quarters, normally the person who wins the tight match goes on and wins it, because like it's like
there's a few of them have already qualified because it splits up now, doesn't it, in the playoffs. And I seen on the radio today, I was listening, they were saying Michael Van Gerwen is 6-1, which is a crazy. Luke Littler is the favourite, Humphreys is second, and Van Gerwen is 6-1.
Van Gerwen never likes losing. That's, you look at like mentalities. You'd look at maybe a Michael Smith and go, Michael Smith's through. He's not going to be asked about tonight. Michael Van Gerwen doesn't want to lose.
Van Gerwen's against Price first. That might be why.
But on the
doesn't matter.
On the night, I mean, to win the whole thing. I mean, sorry.
Oh, okay.
To win the whole.
Yeah. Again, you can't back.
Because it's only one night, isn't it? After the playoffs.
Can't back against Michael Van Gerwen. You just can't.
Yeah. So to win the whole thing, as in when it splits off into the playoffs, it goes down to London. Yeah. I think whatever it is, he's 6-1. Because there's some positions in the playoffs that have already been confirmed. You know what I mean? So I think once it gets split up and it goes to that finale, I think Van Gerwen's 6-1 is a massive price.
That is a massive price, yeah. I'd never want to back him.
Some may say he might make history, Gary.
There's every chance.
Fucking knobs.
We haven't mentioned the snooker. I want to again, obviously the snooker. I think the one thing to point out regarding the snooker, which is significant. I don't know if you heard it. If you heard Barry Hearn on Talksport last week talking about the Crucible and the fact they're trying to either expand the Crucible and make it bigger. Might not be possible. If it's not possible, he said we need to just move it somewhere else.
Yeah, they're just going to outsource it.
The £500,000 that's up for grabs at the moment, which doesn't look like he can get him any bigger by being in the Crucible, is just not enough.
Really?
He said players who are in the World Championship should be getting $100,000 just for qualifying for the World Championships, just for turning up.
Hey, enter Turkey Turkey teeth.
And he literally he has an argument with Andy Goldstein, I think it was, on Talksport, and Andy Goldstein was going, you grow as a snooker player, you just dream about playing the Crucible. He said, I guarantee you now I could get everyone the top 16 on the phone and say to them, do you want to play it in Saudi for £1 million each, or do you want to play at the Crucible for $500,000? And every single one of them was agree within 5 seconds.
Oh yeah.
He said it's all out the window. He said, well, what about that kid growing up? He said, the minute that kid becomes a pro, he's not a kid anymore. He's another person trying to earn money and
Barry Hearn is one of the best speakers I've ever heard. Yeah. What a fella he is. Finish off then on a bit of boxing. I've seen this weekend you've got Kambosos and Lomachenko.
Yeah.
Kambosos.
Is it? That's how much I know about boxing.
That's you and your typing, lad.
It is.
And there was just talk about if Lomachenko gets beat, that's him done.
You said it, if he wins.
If he... if as in Thingo wins. So if Lomachenko loses, that's him. He'll be done.
I don't think he loses to Kambosos.
You don't think?
No. He's had some decent scalps on his record, but...
Well, they've both been beat, haven't they, in the last fight against Haney?
Yeah, they have, but I think... and I mean, the Haney's defeat the other week, whether it was a drug treat inflicted one or not, it slightly sounds... I don't know. I think if it's the last dance for Lomachenko, which is literally as apt as it could get for him, it'd probably be another documentary brought out about his dancing, because that's where
that's how he learns his trade, I guess. But
no, I think he beats Kambosos.
Yeah. And the other talk this week of just the build up, really, everyone will be flying out to Saudi, won't they, for the fight that's not even going to happen, really. The Fury-Usyk fight. I honestly...
still waiting for Fury to drop out.
I will honestly...
Should we have 20 quid on that as well?
I'll put a tenner on now that it doesn't happen.
That's the easiest tenner. Come on, mate. That's.
I'll have a tenner. I just honestly.
Oh my God.
I'm not saying because of Fury. I'm not saying let's call it. I don't know. An Icelandic volcano might go off and stop flights going there. Something will happen. That fight won't happen.
No, definitely not. Just briefly on the boxing, you wouldn't have seen this. It was on a bizarre time. Muskie, did you see it in UA? Got knocked down for the first time.
I seen the highlights. So I saw him get knocked down, and then I saw his shots to then win the fight.
I mean, he completely took over. I was watching it. It was on Bank Holiday Monday, I think, at 10 in the morning, because he obviously fights in Japan nearly all the time, which does my head in. Fair play to him, trying to bring... I think he's patriotic, isn't he? He wants to bring attention to
patriotic
Japan.
Or patriotic?
Patriotic, yeah, sorry. He wants to bring attention to, his country and whatever, but... He needs to get out of there and start fighting more in Europe, in America. because the fans deserve to see it, and I don't know. But yeah, it was interesting. The first knockdown, he come back and won comprehensively in the end, but just really want to see him on these shores. In America, probably more so likely.
Yeah, it's more likely that he'll get on a pay-per-view in America maybe, but I don't know, he just seems to be alright just working his way through the belts while he's just at home, packing out arenas. Like one of the things that, so our Peter was on one of his shows last year or the year before, and they said like that culture is mad.
Just adored.
They get in, like for the first bout, they all just sit there, they're all dead quiet, there's no jeering, cheering, anything, not even when the walkout's on. Just you can hear a pin drop and they just watch the boxing and they applaud when something good happens, and then that's it.
He's Top Rank, isn't he, as well? I mean, Top Rank must be smashing it out there. There's no one else really doing it in Asia, are they? And again,
I think that might be why.
Suppose if they're getting the audience and they're getting the coverage,
and he's getting paid.
Yeah. Why move over? Just being selfish. I think I'd like to see him at a decent hour. I'd like to more. No, it's like more. No one's really talking about it. Sky obviously are talking about it in Top Rank.
But I think that says a lot about boxing, because you look at the Bivol fight that's been cancelled because of injury. But I heard today they were saying that fight now who was
Dmitry Bivol.
Yeah, and he's fighting Beterbiev. He's been injured, hasn't he? Beterbiev. And they were saying he's 40 and he's been injured in his training because he hammers his training, and but he's 40 now, his body's breaking down, and they're like, will that fight ever happen now because he'll be 41, etc. And the reason they're saying it might not happen is because the money's not there, and the reason the money's not there is that type of fight, Bivol and Beterbiev, it's for the purists. It's for the I'm not going to watch it.
Not big personalities.
No, exactly. So it's
they're actually the opposite. They're both proper robots, aren't they?
So those type of fights, like is there a massive clamber for it to be on at a normal time? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
I've seen it as well. Only seen on Instagram. I didn't even know he was fighting. But Robbie Davis Jr. went out to America, didn't he?
Did he? Yeah.
And he unfortunately lost.
Yesterday, was it?
Yeah, he lost. Yeah, I think it was a proper contender for fight of the year. It was a real barnstormer, but unfortunately came up short. But he's a great lad. Gutted for him. I think that's about it. Should we tell everyone about our little challenge?
Go on, I'll let you.
So on Father's Day weekend, which is the 14th, 15th, 16th of June, me and Gary will be taking on the It Goggins challenge. So it's 4 miles to be run every 4 hours for 48 hours. We're going to be starting at 4 p.m. on the Friday, finishing at 12 noon on the Sunday. And what we're hoping for is sponsorship, as we're going to be running for the Sadulo Foundation, but also for people to get involved. So if you want to come and join us for one of the runs, there's going to be a few familiar faces on there, then please come and join us. Gary's done it before, so I'm going to be looking for his guidance, and he's obviously just going to be a massive support along the way. But it'd be great to have anyone from the podcast community to come and join us and take part.
Yeah, do you know one thing I will say? If you're sitting there thinking I don't run, I'm just about run 4 miles. Even if you just do one run, it's boss seeing a different face, and I'm not belittling how much important it'll be for us to cheering each other on and whatever, but just hearing a different voice, seeing a different face, especially seeing someone who doesn't run. Even if you run 2 of the 4 miles and go, boys, I'm done, carry on, well done. Even if you run 1 mile, it's so inspiring. It's more inspiring to actually have someone along with you who's never hasn't run a mile ever, or hasn't run one in 5 years, 10 years, than it is for us to do the whole thing. We run a lot, and like, it will be hard, don't get me wrong, it will be mentally tough, but I had mates come along when I done it 3 years ago who'd never ran before, didn't even have running trainees. They were like, are these alright to run? And we were like, go ahead. And they done a mile, then they walked a bit and whatever, and then I seen them at the end after I'd done me 4 miles. But honestly, if you're sitting there thinking, sounds boss, I'd love to be associated, I'd love to just get along and meet some people, I'd like to see Andy and Gary and cheer them on. Honestly,
a little reminder as well is that because you two are going to be doing 4x4 over 48, your pace isn't going to be like blistering pace anyway. So if anyone's thinking, I'm not going to be able to keep up with runners,
if you want to come and join us,
it's going to be at a nice steady pace.
If you want to come and join us, you're not going to be running 6-minute mile pace. It's going to be 9 or 10-minute mile pace. It's going to be a plod, getting round. You'll be able to talk while we're running. And like Gary said, it'd be great to see some familiar faces, people who sometimes you only speak to on Instagram, so you don't really know them face to face. And again, the offer's there for anyone who wants to join us on one of those 4 miles. Come down. It's for a great cause. Be a big challenge mentally, I think, more than anything. Running 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. and a chance for the Leg It podcast to tell Goggins to leg it.
Yeah, leg it, Goggins. And what'll be good as well in the next few weeks for everyone out there is just learn a little bit more about the Stulo Foundation. I mean, I was lucky enough to come along to the night. You're an ambassador for them. Incredible work that they do, and reaching children that just don't have that support and that network around them. It's it's unbelievable some of the initiatives.
Yeah, I always think, like, obviously being from Bootle, I had a great childhood, but I don't think you realise sometimes until you kind of move away, just like how deprived some areas are. And what Sudulo does is they do a back to schools programme, for example, and they're going into schools and they're giving children who are going to school with dirty clothes on.
They're asking teachers, aren't they, and saying who are you most vulnerable? How do we get to them? How do we do it in a discreet manner so it's not?
And they're giving them kind of Nando's vouchers. They're giving them like vouchers for JD. There's food vouchers and things like that, because there's some areas in our city, you may be driving past them where sometimes the parents are maybe asking the school teachers for money for the gas meter or for the lecky meter and stuff. And I think what Paul and the Stulo Foundation have done is that they've seen areas in our society where probably don't get the support it's needed, and so any money that gets raised gets pumped straight back into the communities which really do need some help.
And that's the second thing, like how many of us give to charities either by direct debit or by like getting harassed by someone in town. Every penny goes to the kids here. It's not like it's going to line some director's pocket and pay some massive salary. It's all going back to the kids, and that's what I love about.
And it's going for anyone in Liverpool or any big city. When you're walking past these communities, you're probably walking past them or past kids that have probably been helped as well already, because it's been going a few years now and it's really taken off. So that's where the money's going to be going, and we'll talk about it more over the next few weeks. And there's 5 weeks ago before we start. Yeah.
One last mention. Now we're on the subject of the local area. Massive congratulations to Marine. What a huge achievement. Up to the National League North, and unbelievable second half of the season. My neighbour, and I say neighbour, he lives across the road from me, Bobby Grant, signed for them around November, and he's ended up, I think, their leading goal scorer. He hadn't played for over a year. He was player manager at Radcliffe the season before, who also went up, and he was like getting bored knocking around the house, so literally went round to Marine and said, listen,
really,
I'll come and play for you. And
it was Macclesfield he beat, wasn't it? 2-1.
It was, yeah, and obviously Macclesfield bankrolled by Robbie Savage. He just got in some investor a few days before. He was a billionaire as well, so unbelievable achievement for the club. Great local club, by the way, and Neil McAdam, who's part of the podcast, works for them.
I was going to say, we have Neil, who works with the pod as well, and him and Gary, big Evertonians, me and Muskie, big Liverpoolian, but Neil, he's working with him, Marine, doing the logos for them and all the kind of the press stuff that he does and design and things. He's done a lot with them, so it's great for us to see as a mate.
Well, we run their academy, so we've got players in our college who've been on
that's
for them a few times.
That's a proper community feel out there, isn't it?
It's brilliant. Yeah. So absolutely buzzing for them.
Neil's buzzing, isn't he? So
he's cheers. I think he's still out now from last week.
At least you know what I can say for Neil. At least there is some football clubs in the city that are bringing him joy.
Yeah, well,
that's the one thing, isn't it?
There you go.
Right, massive thanks everyone for listening. Please do all the likes, sharing, commenting, and all that blah 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 that you do to help keep the podcast going. We'll see you on Patreon for those who are signed up for our betting tips, and if not, we'll see you all next week.